Hi guys and welcome, I'd say back to my channel, but it's been so long since I posted on here, it's probably actually just welcome to my channel for most of you. So I haven't posted on here in probably about 2 years now since I competed, but I wanted to restart things and people said they wanted to see it restarted. And today I want to talk about a topic that I think has become really prevalent in the last year and a half with everything that's been going on. And it's a personal thing that I deal with on a daily basis that I don't really speak about because I am very much pretending I'm okay to the outside world, and actually I deal with this on pretty much a daily basis now. So I've got myself a cup of tea. I'm going to do a little bit of a tea with me with a croaky throat. And today I want to just have a chat with you about, I guess, my situation of dealing with everyday life with anxiety. So I think that anxiety is something that a lot of people have sort of faced during lockdowns and COVID, and I think for most people that haven't experienced it before, it might seem like a situation induced problem, but actually anxiety is something a lot more people deal with on a regular basis, on a daily basis, than I think people realise. And I think that only through COVID and people discussing mental health more, because it's been a problem and, you know, more people have had issues with it, that it's really come to light how many people deal with this on the regular basis. So my issues with anxiety, I mean, to be honest, my issues with anxiety have always been there, but you know, I kind of was brought up in, I guess, a bit of a different time, which sounds ridiculous because I'm only 28, but actually things have changed a lot in recent years. When I was younger, it wasn't really discussed, mental health, or, I mean, my brother, we're pretty sure, had teenage depression at one point. I have clearly always had anxiety when I look back on things, especially social anxiety. And my eldest brother, with how he is, we're pretty sure he is on the autistic spectrum. But when I was younger, it wasn't really discussed because my parents were brought up in a very different way. My mum was quite old when she had us. She was sort of, I think she was mid-30s when she had me. And she was brought up in a very regimented household where problems weren't discussed. You were just expected to do what they wanted you to do. It's always been an environment where I think that I've always known I had issues with mental health. I've always known my mum's had issues with her anxiety, and I've always known that my dad sort of suffered with social anxiety in social situations, but it was never really discussed. And then at school I was always worrying if people liked me. I was always feeling a bit awkward around new people, social interactions, and you know, the same with uni. But obviously at uni you've got a crux of alcohol to deal with being in social situations. Have a bottle of wine and, you know, you're going to be anyone's friend. So I think I probably didn't acknowledge that I fully acknowledged that I was dealing with an issue until a few years ago now. Definitely before COVID I knew I had problems, and I'd go through phases where my anxiety would flare and I would know about it. But then I really started suffering when in January of this year we lost I kind of was suffering a bit through the last lockdown, but then really we lost my granddad to COVID within 3 days. In January of this year, complete shock. He had just had his first vaccine. He had gone to the hospital for some checkups for some lumps on his head, and then he had his vaccine 2 days later, and then we got told he had COVID on the Sunday and he passed away overnight on the Tuesday. So it was very sudden, very unexpected. And then around that time, our dog got quite ill for at least 2.5 months. It was a long ongoing thing, and she had basically issues with her leg. She was getting lumps, and then she had a mass infection, and you know, with anxiety, my other half was like, she'll get better, they'll work it out, it's fine. With anxiety, you don't have that. So I was not only dealing with the grief of my grandpa passing, but also I was dealing with the fact that in my head, I was thinking of the worst case scenario and thinking that I would also be losing my dog, or, you know, she might lose a leg, or just the worst case scenarios. So ever since kind of the start of this year is when I've kind of really been battling badly to push through a really long bout of anxiety that is slowly shifting, but it's taken a long time to shift. So anyone without anxiety wouldn't kind of know. It sounds like a bit of a, oh, they're just worried about stuff. And to be honest, I struggled to talk about it for a long time because I thought it sounded like a cop-out. In my head, I was like, you just overthink, you just worry, it's just a cop-out. Because I spent so many years being told that that's what it was, that I was just worrying, that I was just overthinking. But it's not. It genuinely can be debilitating. There are some days, if my anxiety's flared, where I do not have the energy to get off the sofa. When your anxiety sort of actually flares, I mean, it's individual to everyone. Personally, I have a constant feeling of nausea in my stomach, worrying that I've done something to upset someone. If a situation arises, I will always overthink that situation and jump to the worst case scenario. If my anxiety is really flared at night, I basically can't sleep because my brain just goes into an absolute whirlwind of overthinking everything. No matter how much I brain dump, it just does not stop. It just does not switch off. And you just have this constant feeling of worry and, well, anxiousness, because that's what obviously anxiety is. I also personally really struggle with social situations. So when I first meet people, I feel quite awkward and I act quite awkward. It takes me quite a few times of meeting someone to be able to fully sort of, I guess, be myself around them. And I constantly find myself worrying about whether the people there, you know, actually like me, whether I'm making a good impression. And for me, it's just a really hard situation to be in. I do it because I know I have to in life, but for me, it is extremely difficult. So actually for me, COVID has been a bit of a blessing because our company has gained a lot of new people, and it just means I haven't had to deal with the face-to-face interactions. I can do it via messages, via a video call type thing. In terms of sort of if I'm seeking any treatment for my anxiety, I have been speaking to therapists. I have got a lot of tools put in place to help me deal with it. And I am at the point though where I'm considering speaking to the GP about getting some kind of medication in short term, because my sleep is really being thrown off by it, and it's leaving me knackered, and in turn it is worsening the anxiety because when I'm tired it worsens, and it's all just a bit of a vicious cycle that I just need a bit of a hand with breaking. So in terms of sort of what I use to deal with it, sort of technique wise, I guess, for me, sort of mental work is very important, as well as my fitness. So my exercise keeps me level. That always gives me a bit of a boost. Making sure I get out and about for some steps really gives me a bit of a mental boost. Making sure I'm eating sort of healthy, but also having some of, I guess, what you'd call the more brain boosting foods. But making sure that I also have fruit and vegetables to keep my brain healthy and happy. And then I do a lot of mental work in that I really have to prioritise things like journaling on a daily basis, and really winding down at night. So doing some breath work when I get over anxious, meditation before bed, yoga before bed, things that will help my brain switch off. So before bed I always religiously have a hot bath and read, and then also in that hot bath I'll do some breath work as well. I'm really just trying to help my brain calm. But if you are struggling with anxiety and if you are feeling alone or just really suffering, do not be afraid to open up. Do not be afraid to talk to people about it, because actually talking to people about it is what has changed, not just the way that, you know, I speak to my parents, but especially with my other half. Because before I'd say, no, I was feeling anxious, and he'd be like, oh, you're just overthinking it, it's fine, nothing to worry about. That's not helpful to someone with anxiety. Telling someone with anxiety that they're overthinking things, it's not that bad, they need to get over it, that's not helpful. That doesn't help them process it. And instead, he now tries to delve to the root of why I'm feeling anxious, and what is going on in my mind, so that we can look at ways of potentially removing those situations from my life. If you are someone that is struggling, please feel free to reach out. At the end of the day, only someone with anxiety really knows what it's like to go through it. Only someone with it really knows the ins and outs of how you feel sick to the stomach day in, day out. And I am always here to listen. So please, if you are struggling, either go and ask for help from a professional, from a family member, from friends, from your other half, or ask me, because it's only by speaking to people in recent years I managed to finally start getting a grip, and not let the anxiety kind of rule my life. So, and if COVID has taught me anything, it's that a lot more people are going to be struggling with it than you think. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe. There's going to be more content coming soon. I'm going to hopefully aim to do 1 to 2 videos a week, so the next video should be coming on Saturday. And just to give you a bit more insight into sort of my life, my fitness journey, my building a business, and just, yeah, everything really. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will catch up with you all in a few days' time.